Saturday at Donington Park, and the penultimate race of the season for the Honda British Talent Cup of 2022. The big news was before the race even started, Johnny Garness, the champion, the dominant champion of this year, was hoping to run with the celebratory number one, but was ruled out with an incident at qualifying earlier on in the day. Drama down at the first corner as well, contact almost inevitable in some ways there. Harrison McKay was down and Ryan Hitchcock as well caught up in the action. Up at the front though, Evan Belford was charging and Rhys Stevenson absolutely desperate to win for the first time this season, but then it all kicked off. Belford ran wide at the old hairpin, lost momentum, they went side by side up through Schwantz, and Stevenson caught out on the curbs on the outside. Very lucky to get away with that one. It was just a little bit of tissue damage, we are told, but it could have been so much worse. So they charge to the checkered flag. Carter Brown right up behind Evan Belford, who comes through to win for the second time this year. So this is it, these seasons just come and go as quickly as that, don't they? Race 2 at Donington Park, race number 18 of 18 in the 2022 Honda British Talent Cup, and there are still things to be decided, even though the championship itself is all set, of course, in favour of Johnny Garness. They go off fastest laps from yesterday's race, so Zoroviek is 6th on the grid. Cook here, who is back in action, James Cook, the 15-year-old younger brother of Max Cook, the newly crowned junior superstock champion here at BSB. Harley McCabe was right up there in race 1 here on Saturday in 3rd place. He heads up row 2, 4th on the grid. Here's Evan Belford, yesterday's winner. Out with injury for most of the season, bounced back at Knockhill with a spectacular victory, so yesterday's result takes him up to 2 wins for 2022. Carter Brown, right up there last year, right up there this year. He's in the middle of the front row of the grid, but are we finally going to see, I have to say, a very well-deserved first victory? Look how confident Rocket Rhys is. Rhys Stevenson taken out in an incident yesterday, a bit of a racing incident really. Neil Mackenzie fell. It wasn't deliberate from Belford, and Stevenson was just caught out on the outside. High-speed incident at Schwantz curve. Is he going to take victory there from pole position? Now we're just hearing that Bailey Stewart Campbell missed the sighting lap, and unfortunately he's going to have to start this race from the back of the grid. He would have been 8th in the middle of row 3, so that's a real lack of luck for Bailey Stewart Campbell already. Neil, 1 race to go, still some championship positions to be decided, and I think it's going to be a pretty exciting few laps here at Donington Park. If you're watching on Eurosport, we're going to have a quick break. Get ready now as they get going on the warm-up lap. On the warm-up lap here for the final race of the season for the Honda British Talent Cup of 2022. Neil Mackenzie and Greg Haynes are with you, streaming down the Craner curves, and here's the situation with Johnny Garness, who unfortunately is not racing, but there is a little bit of good news about that, which I'll tell you in a second. Carter Brown then aiming for the championship runner-up spot. He's confirmed. Crosby and Stevenson are absolutely together, locked almost on points for 3rd in the championship. There was an incident earlier on, by the way, for Harrison McKay, who escaped major injury in a warm-up crash down the Craner curves. Grid positions for this one decided by the fastest laps of race 1 here on Saturday. So Rhys Stevenson, Rocket Rhys, who's been really out of luck actually and deserves a victory. Can he get it in the last race of the season from pole? Carter Brown and Evan Belford alongside. Then it's Harley McCabe, James Cook and Philip Zorowiak from Poland. Neil Mackenzie and Greg Haynes, as I say, in the commentary box, and I'm delighted to say that we're being joined by the 2022 champion, Johnny Garness, who's just done a selfie with Neil Mackenzie. Neil, we'll start with you. A bit of a fanboy thing to do there, a selfie.
Yeah, I've got a child sitting next to me, looks about 5, but I've watched them and listened to
Johnny?
Yeah, well, we know your mental age, Greg, but that's okay, everyone's aware of that. But yeah, young Johnny sitting next to me, and yeah, watched them all year, demolish the opposition. And seen him being interviewed on TV. He is the full package already, but yeah, great to see that Rhys Stevenson made his way through that incident yesterday and is all in one piece, because he was a rider that kept Johnny quite honest a few times this year. Johnny always managed to get the better of him, but yeah, one last chance.
There he is. Who looks more
one
like
last chance for Rhys to just stamp his authority and maybe get that race win. So great to see he's pumped up on the grid and ready for action.
How are you feeling, by the way?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, thank you. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good race. It's always the best race, last race of the season. everyone just wants to do their best because it's been such a long, hard season, and yeah, I think everyone just wants to go out there, enjoy it, and just make the most of it.
Do you feel a bit lucky in a way to be sat next to Neil Mackenzie, despite what happened in qualifying?
Or not, but yeah, but it's always nice for a rider to win the championship and then just watch the rest of the contenders have a bit of scrap it out for the final position. So yeah, real luxury for Johnny to sit here and just watch his competitors in action.
Yeah, and Josh Bonester, I think that was, just been repositioned in the middle of the one of the rows towards the back of the field. Lights on, last race of the year then is at Donington, and it is go with Rhys Stevenson away from pole position, everybody away off the line. That's good news as we stream down to Redgate for the first time. Look at Harley McCabe straight up into the lead. Evan Belford goes up the inside. Great start for Sullivan Mounsey as well. Number 4, nearly contact there with Rhys Stevenson out of Redgate. A couple out on the green paint. Lucas Brown was one of them. Carter Brown was the other. Down through the Craner curves. Neil Mackenzie all clean so far.
Yeah, all safely around Redgate. We've seen a few incidents already this weekend at Redgate, but perfect racing conditions, perfect track conditions, and perfect behaviour for all the youngsters in the first corner on the first lap this time.
Johnny Garnett should have been racing, but he's with us here in the commentary box. Is this quite strange to be watching this on the TV?
Yeah, it's quite strange, but yeah, it's kind of nice to just sit back, relax, and just enjoy watching it. But yeah, I'd definitely rather be out there battling with all these boys.
So Johnny, you know all the guys out there. If I had 50 pence to bet on them, who would you pick? Who's your pick?
God knows, it's gonna be a good race as always.
Is there any Donington? Are there any Donington specialists? Anyone you think that goes particularly well at Donington?
I think we know Carter's dominant here because he was dominant here at the start of the season with me, and yeah, he's just been winning in Donington quite a lot. So yeah, I think my money's on Carter. Yeah.
Well, look at this so far. This is the most bunched up first lap we've seen for quite a long time, isn't it? Bailey Stewart Campbell there on the pink bike, coming from the back of the grid after a problem before this race started. Should have been 8th on the grid. He's coming right through the field, so watch out for him out of the Melbourne loop. Belford in the lead. That was Stevenson then, and we look back for Bailey Stewart Campbell. He's right in that gaggle. You can see the order down the left-hand side of your screen. Carter Brown is attacking Harley McCabe. Harley McCabe being shuffled back on this opening lap. He was almost in the lead when they came out of Redgate. Where's Bailey Stewart Campbell? He's in that gaggle look at the top of the screen coming out of Goddard. This is a really tight race so far.
Yeah, last race of the season, and they just all look so determined. They've all got a point to prove. There's so many potential winners here, from Harley McCabe, who's a couple of podiums so far, well, 3 podiums this year, a couple at Silverstone earlier in the year. Rhys Stevenson desperate for that one. Carter Brown, who is Johnny's Donington expert, and of course Evan Belford. We know he can win races, we know how fast he is. His confidence took a massive leap forward yesterday with his race win on Saturday, so it just really is anybody's. It's just going to be fascinating.
And Johnny, you just had your 14th birthday in the last few weeks, and of course the age limits are going up, aren't they? It was 12 last year, 13 this year, 14 is the minimum age next year, so quite a few riders, I think, including you, staying in the British Talent Cup next year.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of riders are staying in this championship next year. I think the majority of the riders in this championship right now are staying in it the next year, but I think obviously, yeah, they've moved the age limit up. It's an advantage and a disadvantage, because it's a disadvantage for all the young lads coming through, and they have to stay on the same bikes. But yeah, I guess it's alright, because then we have more time to experience the tracks and the bikes, and I think it just gives us more time to move up.
Okay, they come out of the foggy S's. We're going to get some side-by-side, I think, here. Down into the Melbourne loop. Look at Sullivan Mounsey, number 4, attacking. Stevenson on the left. Belford on the outside. Gives him space. Great riding there by Belford. Side-by-side for 3rd. Mounsey's the first of the bikes in 3rd place. Right behind is Carter Brown. And as you've already said, Neil, I think this is going to be a classic end-of-term confrontation here at Donington.
Yeah, Carter Brown, one of the maybe bigger, stronger riders. He really can do anything with that bike. He's a good off-roader. I know he's got off-road skills, so lots going on there. Yeah, thinking about an outbreaking manoeuvre into Goddard. Didn't happen this time. But yeah, very much in the mix. And for Carter Brown, as he is a little bit bigger, having a couple of bikes in front of him, especially on the straights, 2 bike slipstreams just work perfectly for him. So yeah, he just needs to hang in there, and we know he can be there at the end, and maybe today will be the day.
Oh, look at that. What a move from Stevenson then, down towards the Craner curves and into the old hairpin. Stevenson leads on lap 3 of 15, but it's Lucas Brown now who's made great progress this year, working so closely with Steve Patrickson and his dad Lee, and he's up there in 5th place, fastest lap of the race so far. This is a wonderful scrap, isn't it? The top 6 locked together. This is the championship situation if it stays like this. The man alongside us in this commentary box comfortably ahead by 108 points, but look, Stevenson would move back ahead of Harrison Crosby for 3rd in the championship. Crosby's down in 7th place at the moment on the yellow Banks Racing Machine. Who's the toughest to race then in this group, Johnny? You've raced with all of them all season long.
Yeah, it's got to be Reese because he's always managed to stay with me, and he always just hangs behind me and just waits for the last couple of laps and he'll just pounce. But yeah, it's been fun racing with all of these lads this year. I think Carter will just pass you anywhere. But yeah, I think it's going to be a gamble really, because look, the front group's massive already. So many riders in it, but saying that, it's only lap 3.
Oh, look at that. Very, very tight round the Melbourne Loop, and we'll keep an eye on the situation with Crosby. At the moment then, just to confirm, it will go to count back because of second places. Stevenson yet to win, but of course if he stays where he is, he's going to be winning for the first time this season anyway. But if they're level on points, of course it goes to your highest number of best places, if that makes sense. So if you haven't won, it would be your second places. So Stevenson, for example, if he drops to second place, he'll be level on points, but he would still win on countback with more second places. Crosby at the moment is in 7th position. Lucas Brown still has the fastest lap of the race. And Neil, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we've seen this many riders locked together at this point of the race? Yeah,
9 riders within a couple of seconds, and that's to be expected because Friday was a lot of wet practice, didn't get a lot of dry track time. Yesterday was dry, the guys got more time on the bikes, more times to get settings right, got a race under the belt, so a lot of them more confident in these conditions. And yeah, times are closer, placings are closer, and that's just due to everyone having a race yesterday and just getting things set up and getting things exactly how they want it for another perfect day here at Donington.
Keanu Via is flying as well. He's up 10 positions already to 15th on the in the order from 25th on the grid. Bailey Stewart Campbell from the back is now up to 19th position. Look at Stevenson. You've got to say, Johnny, it would be a really well-deserved win for Reese because he's fought so hard, hasn't he, this year? This is the 18th race and he deserves a win, but they're not going to make it easy for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be nice if Reese could have this win, but yeah, they're not going to make it easy for him. They're all going to look like this. They're all passing in every single corner. Ooh.
Safety car is out. They don't know it yet. Look, they need to look for the yellow flags in the boards. I don't know why we have a safety car, but on lap 4, just to throw another spanner in the works. Lucas Brown spotted it, hand up, Crosby as well, and it's because a rider has crashed. Dan Goodman, one of your teammates, of course, the MLab Vision Track Academy, has crashed at the Craner Curves. He'll be taken to the medical centre. Here's the situation. Let's hope Dan Goodman is okay and that the medical centre message is just precautionary. We'll take a quick break if you're watching on Eurosport. Back for the restart. Well, we have had a few incidents down through the Craners across the weekend. You can see the yellow flags waving, the SC boards. There's many of those boards around the track here, the 4 kilometre, 2.5 mile layout of Donington, and this is the reason. The safety car then, for the first time this weekend, is out on the track. And Johnny, I can't remember too many safety cars in Talent Cup races this year. No, there hasn't been one safety car this whole year. I really hope Dan Goodman's alright because he's a really good friend of mine, but yeah, he's a teammate, and yeah, I just really hope he's alright. It looks like he's walked away from it though. But yeah, this is the first safety car this year, so none of the riders, this is all new to them. I've never had a safety car in my career. So this is going to be a challenge, isn't it, when they get going? Obviously the lights get switched off on the safety car before it comes in, and then the leader effectively becomes the safety car. But yeah, we might see a few mistakes here. What do you reckon?
Yeah, you never know, because now look, the front group's just getting bigger, a couple riders are joining, and yeah, it's just going to be good when the safety car pulls into pits and everyone's just going to go mad.
Okay, we're hearing Dan Goodman's been stretchered away, so we'll keep you posted. Neil, how's this going to be affecting bikes riders now? Tyre temperature's going to drop?
That's right, as Johnny said, they haven't had a safety car this year, but all the riders are briefed in the event of a safety car coming out, so they know the rules. They know that when the lights go off on the safety car, it will be pulling in on that lap. And they also know that they can't pass the safety car until it's safely in the pit lane, and they can't do any passing on the track until they're over the start-finish line after the safety car goes in.
We're 1/3 of the way through the race here at Donington Park under safety car conditions. The lights have been switched off, as you can see on the top of the safety car, because it's coming in at the top of the screen at the end of this lap. Positive news. Dan Goodman, who's crashed at the Craner Curves, has been stretchered away and is conscious and talking to the medic, but is complaining of back pain. So if we hear of anything while we're still on the air from the medical centre here, and Heike Roma, who heads up a wonderful medical team at BSB, we of course will let you know. The track itself has been clear down here through the Craner Curve section. So, as Johnny Garness has exclusively revealed alongside us here in the commentary box, this is the first safety car they've had in the Talent Cup. So pretty much the first safety car for these riders in their whole career. What would you be thinking now if you were leading the pack?
Yeah, God knows, everyone's looking behind them, but look how big the front group's getting now. So I think when the safety car pulls in, everyone's just going to try to save each other. I think the front group might pull away again, but yeah, we'll just have to see what happens.
So the safety car will peel off into the back pit lane entrance, which is just before Goddard's, and then the leader, Evan Belford, will effectively dictate the pace. They need to be careful not to pass the safety car, of course. We had a problem with that at Snetterton with BSB earlier this season, although, Neil, with the other pit lane entrance here, that shouldn't be an issue.
No, they'll, yeah, I'm sure they're all aware of that, but yeah, pit lane entrance at the back of the pits, which is after they get round the next hairpin corner. And then it's pretty much up to the lead rider to control things. He can pretty much do what he wants within reason. He can back them up or he can accelerate away, but there must be no passing for any of the riders until they cross the start-finish line on this lap.
Right, this is effectively going to become an 8-lap sprint to the last checkered flag of the season now. Safety car pulls off to the right-hand side with its indicator going. They're getting up to speed. Remember, they're not allowed to pass before the line. Round Goddard, it's getting quite tight there midfield, but everyone's done a wonderful job so far. And after the first ever safety car restart in the 2022 Honda Talent Cup, we are away again on lap 7 at Donington Park. Belford leads, Stevenson is second, Carter Brown is third, Mounsey has a look at McCabe attacking Lucas Brown. There is Harrison Crosby, number 15, and he needs to get up to the front as quickly as he can, if he can, because he's fighting hard with Stevenson for third in the championship. Technical problem for Mason Johnson, who's not even been able to take the restart, so unfortunately that's an early bath for Mason. But look at this, 3 abreast almost down into the old hairpin, and they're really ganging up now as McKay dives into the pits. I don't know whether that's a legacy of his crash earlier on today in the warm-up when he was hurt down through the Craner Curve. But Neil, they are absolutely ganging up on Belford now.
They are, and I'm so pleased that they've made it around this half lap, because when the lap times slow down when the safety car is out, then tyres cool down, there's less grip. So first, the half lap is always a bit of a worry when the guys are committing and trying to get in places, so everyone's safely round. Up to Coppice, tyres back up to temperature, and everything's good. I've got to say, Evan Belford, I think, played the safety car thing as good as he possibly could. He kind of had a nice gap. He led on to the start-finish straight there, but of course the cavalry is coming. They're all backed up behind them now.
Oh, I thought we might see somebody overshooting that chicane there. Yeah, can Evan Belford do the double? Something you've already done, what, 4 times this year, Johnny? So it became a bit of a habit for you, didn't it, over the last 4 rounds? Carter Brown goes through. Mounds is trying to go through as well, and Lucas Brown now is the first of the black bikes. He's up into 3rd place. Stevenson pushed down into 5th position. So we're counting down the laps every time they come through, and this is absolutely impossible to call. And the 75 of Sorowiak is weaving around in the background as well, the Polish rider who's really found some form this weekend. Look how close the field is as we come down into the 8th of the 15 laps. So it's your good mate and teammate Carter Brown in the front now. Not for long though.
Yeah, look, like I said, the group's already bunching up, and yeah, you can't really put your money on anyone now, because look, they're all looking hungry for the win, and yeah, I mean, you can't really bet on anyone because it's all bunching up again.
What was interesting, it was a good test for Carter Brown getting into the lead in the Melbourne Loop, and he managed to hold off to the start-finish line. So yeah, it's good test. He knows now that he can sometimes somehow squeeze with the front on the last lap, then he could be home and dry. And by the same token, the opposition know that as well, so they need to make sure he's not leading in the Melbourne Loop on the last lap.
Well, what's interesting about this is there are several riders in this group who haven't won races so far in the Talent Cup, and one of them is taking the lead now. Lucas Brown, Coppice corner, that was a late lunge, and he's through, Neil.
Certainly was, and a good pass as well, and element of surprise involved there, but yeah, really nice pass there. Did a good job, executed it perfectly.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abreast. Why not? Down into the fog. Yes, it's sort of a Mounsey comes through, and he's yet to win in the class as well. He's going to run wide on the exit. 3 abreast coming out of the S's. Which way do you go? Evan Belford, who's been leading for the whole race so far, is down to about 5th place. Not for long. Back at the inside. Carter Brown's missed his braking point, and he's going to run wide. And Crosby's coming through as well now on the yellow bike. He's trying to get up to Stevenson, don't forget, for 3rd in the championship. I hope you're keeping up with this. Mounsey on the right. Carter Brown now comes from a long way back. Oh, this has got to be the best race of the season. No disrespect, by the way, but this has got to be the best race of the season so far.
Well, let's be honest, Johnny made it boring this year as much as we're very impressed. But yeah, sorry, Johnny.
Just hit him.
Yeah,
Johnny?
no, this is a really good race so far. I'm loving it. I've got such a big smile on my face. Like, going into Melbourne, Evan was like 6th, 5th, and now he's in the lead going into the corner. But yeah, this is such a good race to watch.
Matt Rouse Brooks just retired into the pit, so the Dutch rider is out of the race. By the way, we just had a note here. Johnny needs to leave before the end to go to his championship podium in your leathers, and that's from Lucy at Eurosport. And just so you know, you always follow what Lucy says, okay? So if you're going to be working with us more, make sure you follow the instructions, Johnny, because there are severe consequences if you don't. As Evan Belford up towards Swans for the last time, for the 9th time, leads this race. Of course, you're going to be presented with your champion trophy, aren't you? As Carter Brown goes up the inside of Mounsey. That's for 2nd. Stevenson's now in 4th position again, back in front of Lucas Brown. But yeah, it'll be nice to see you on the podium, Johnny. Having not been able to race this weekend, you will get your championship trophy.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think Carter's guaranteed 2nd, but I think just the battle for 3rd in the championship is between Reese and Harrison. I think Harrison has to finish 3rd to get it. I don't know. I'm not too sure where Reese has to finish, but Reese is looking really hungry for the win, and I think I don't think he's had a win all season. And yeah, I think, to be honest, the way he's riding and all the moves he's doing, he looked quite good for the win.
I have to say, Neil, everyone's been actually very clean so far, haven't they? Johnny, have you got to run and put your leathers on?
Alright, thank you very much.
Thanks, Johnny. Congratulations. 2022 Honda British Talent Cup champion. He's going to go and put his leathers on now. We'll see him on the podium in a bit as he leaves this commentary box. And I feel like we are in danger of losing our jobs in the future, because I think he did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, that's enough. He's far too impressive for first attempt at the commentating, Lark. So go and look after your own career.
Yeah, exactly. Get your leathers on, get on that podium.
Yeah, they have been behaving themselves, Greg, but we're getting to the sharp end of this race, and normally, like in any Moto3, any small class race, whether it's World Championship, on the British Talent Cup or whatever, the last 2 or 3 laps are the most frenetic and the most hectic, and can quite often produce the most action.
And incidentally, one thing we didn't say there with Johnny is that he's going to be doing a full season of the European Talent Cup again next year as well, and I believe that will be the priority. So if there are any clashes, he'll focus on the European Talent Cup. Although that feels 2023 like a long way off at the moment, with this last race still to complete in 22. Lucas Brown goes up the inside of Stevenson, then back up to 4th. But you are watching the top 9 here, right down to James Cook, the captain, who's back in the Talent Cup now, 15 years of age, and he's quick and he's having a great weekend here at Donington in 9th place. Korea is 10th still, and I was talking to him about his family over in Florida. Luckily for them, they're a little bit further north than where the hurricanes hit in the last few days, so he'll be going back to America tomorrow with Julian Correa. And he's having a good race here up in 10th place. De Sawyer's 11th, from Hopkins, Fire from towards the back up to 13th. Huntingford is 14th, Ryan Hitchcock is 15th. As we focus on this fight for the lead, Belford goes through, Mounsey sits it up on the outside. Did well though not to run into the back of Carter Brown, and once again it is absolutely anyone's race. Stevenson's been quite calm and level-headed now with all this chaos going on around him.
Yeah, he certainly has. Just gave his seat a little tap there to indicate to Lucas Brown to follow him. Whether he wants to do that or not, I'm not convinced. But yeah, Reese Stevenson 4th, Lucas Brown 5th.
This is at Goddard at the end of the lap. It's Luca Hopkins, number 41, on one of the Steve Patrickson bikes. It's the Barnsdale leisure bike out of the race. At least Luca is all right and walking away. And incidentally, actually, there was some interesting gossip from the paddock earlier on from Steve Patrickson regarding Luca Hopkins himself, and I'm just checking the official line. Yes, he's hoping to get enough money together, prize money together, so he can buy a donkey. And I said, are you having me on? And he said, no, he's not. He's actually hoping to buy a donkey, Neil, in the off-season. I suppose you've got quite a long off-season.
Yeah, he needs to team up with Tommy Bridwell. He's just invested in... Yeah, Tommy Bridwell's just invested in a flock of sheep, or sheeps as he likes to call them, and he's also got a man sheep there to help out as well with activities. So yeah, they just two should get together in the off season. I thought
we might just have a little bit more fascinating trivia just before the season ends. You are watching the Honda British Talent Cup, by the way, motorcycle racing, as Belford continues to head up the pack. Harley McCabe, don't forget, started up there in 4th place. He was on the podium yesterday, number 79 in 6th place, and does have the fastest lap of the race at the moment, which is why he's got that purple, that lilac coloured circle next to his position number on the left hand side of your screen. Mounds is really aggressive, isn't he, Neil? I remember you were a bit concerned about some of his aggressive starts, cutting across grids earlier on in the season, but it'd be great to see him take a win as well.
No question about his talent. He has been caught out as well. But yeah, fantastic rider. But yeah, just needs to calm down a little bit on the starts. And as I said, we're on lap 12 of 15 now, and seeing some personal best sectors appearing. So that indicates to me that's George Bowes on the Microlise machine. I think that's gone down there.
Oh, what a shame. Over at the Melbourne Loop, you can see they just rested there, the bike on the long lap penalty lane on the outside. It feels to me like they're really getting the hammer down. Yes, they are indeed. Look, lap record for Stevenson at 1:42.005, the fastest ever talent code. I know he's widest in this part of the track. That's what happened yesterday. He tried to go around the outside of Belford here yesterday, ended up on those curbs there on the grass and out of the race. It was the National Day of Lincolnshire. Reese's mum was proudly telling us yesterday, ended up on the grass and out of the race. Can he now come out of Donington with a victory in this 18th and final race of 2022? I noticed Mounsey was on the green paint there on the outside of McLean, so he needs to be careful with track limits, otherwise it will be a long lap penalty. But Stevenson's looking really racy now.
He is. He's so impressive, this kid. 1.6 faster than last year's lap record that went to Casey Gorman. Evan Belford broke the lap record briefly yesterday. Reece Stevenson trumped him and then has gone down there almost in the 41s. That is incredible for these little machines, and it just shows you how the talent is coming out and how these riders are improving, because for all intents and purposes everything is the same as last year, apart from the riders having more experience and being faster.
Goddard's corner awaits them. Here comes Carter Brown. He's really aggressive on the brakes, and there's the proof. Remember, he was involved in that historic double victory here when himself and Garness went across the line totally level on time, and were both given 25 points at the first Donington meeting earlier on this season. 3 to go then in 2022. Look at Lucas Brown there up the inside of Harley McCabe, and he is up into 5th place, but the top 4 are edging away. That's by far the biggest gap we've seen in the pack so far. Half a second in between them as they come down the Craners for the last time, and Mr. Garness has got his leathers on, I'm pleased to say, before he goes out onto the podium, and he's back in the commentary box, so he's going to join us, I think, for the last 3 laps of the race. I knew it was just Mackenzie's just too irresistible, isn't he?
Yeah, I've just got my leathers on now, and I'm just going to watch the last couple laps of the race.
Okay, let's see. There goes Stevenson at the inside of Mounsey. Do you want to try and pick a winner, Neil Mack?
Well, I was just going to say, every lap it's a different favourite here. Carter Brown's back in the mix. And they've got, I think we're just hearing the young Scot, Troy Jeffries, he's crashed. Yeah. So after, an incredible knockhill, a couple of podiums up there. So, let's hope Troy's okay.
Craner curves, and it is a red flag. It's a red flag here at Donington Park. What a shame for the race to end in this way, but my goodness me, that is a massive amount of damage to Troy Jeffries' bike. I hope Troy himself is okay, but that's an enormous accident, isn't it, down through the Craner curves. And this race, therefore, is over early at Donington Park. We had 2 laps to go when they next came over the line. Johnny, thanks for popping back in. He will now head to the podium, of course, for the championship prize giving as well as the race prize ceremony. And that means then, Neil, that Evan Belford has done the double. What a great double at the end of the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you get to 2/3 distance, you need to try and be in front every time you go over the line, whether it's a sketchy move into the last corner, because it's so important. Yeah, these bikes, I've got to say, these bikes do crash well normally, but that's the cartwheel job, and obviously the front end of that bike has disappeared. Yeah, they're dragging it along with the cables, only the brake lines that are pretty much attaching it.
So there you can see the notification there of the red flag, going back to the end of the last full lap, of course, here under BSB regulations. Everybody being fed in through the same pit lane entrance that the safety car used earlier on in the race. I have to say, I feel for Reece Stevenson. I know we're supposed to be neutral, but I would have been pleased to see him win a race this season, because he really deserved one, and that means, of course, that Harrison Crosby stays 3rd in the championship.
That's right. Carter Brown as well, he's obviously disappointed. He felt he could win it. Reece Stevenson thought winners always believe that they're going to win, and when it finishes early they're always going to be disappointed. But it was Evan Belford got the best hand dealt to him there. He's in the right place at the right time, and it's something to always think about as a rider, to once you get past 2/3 distance, just try and make sure you get over the line in front. But pleased for Evan. He had a tough start to the season, broken leg, come back at Knockhill with a win, and double win here at Donington. So what a way to end the season for the youngster.
Yeah, well done. The 15-year-old from Grendon in Warwickshire. As we said before, the age limits have gone up. We've seen quite a few changes across the board in bike racing over the last few years. So it's gone from 12 to 13 and it'll be 14 next year, minimum age. So sadly, red flags come out for Troy Jeffrey's crash at the Craner curve, so we didn't get the last 2 laps of the race. Evan Belford, though, an extremely well-deserved double here, his 3rd victory in total this season. Carter Brown is 2nd, Stevenson denied that win, but another great podium for him this season. Mounsley was up there all through the race. Well done, Lucas Brown, to be right up there in the leading group for pretty much the whole race, and the top 5, they'll be made up with that. McCabe, Crosby, Sorowiak, Cook was in that leading group for the majority of the race. Then it was Via, well done, up to 10th from near the back of the grid. Correa 11th from Desoy, Huntingford, Walker and Peter Willis there completing the point scorers. Bailey Stewart Campbell nearly in the points. He missed out by half a second there, coming from the back of the grid after that problem just before the race started. So 18 races done and dusted. This is it, the final Honda British Talent Cup Championship standings of 2022. And despite missing both of the races here this weekend, Johnny Garness, the dominant Johnny Garness, just turned 14 from Ilfracombe in Devon, wins by 104 points. Carter Brown is your runner-up in an MLab Vision Track Academy 1-2. Crosby gets the better of Stevenson, who will look at that, just 4 points. He'll be lamenting that crash of Saturday. Lucas Brown, top 5 in the championship from Desoy. Belford, as Neil said, plenty of injuries, otherwise he would have been much higher than that. Via showed some flashes of brilliance through the season. Hitchcock, Rousebrook completes the top 10 from McCabe, and Julian Correa, who heads back to America on Monday. Mounsey, McKay, Stewart Campbell and Troy Jeffrey, despite the crash at the end of the season, is inside the championship top 20. And well done Manny Brinton as well, 24th, only put a few outings in, but some stunning performances.
Evan Belford, do you want to explain to me how you overtook 6 people in one manoeuvre going into the Melbourne Loop and then come back here to see me for a winner's interview?
I don't actually know, to be honest. It was a brilliant race. A lot more people in the group than yesterday, which makes it more exciting for me and everybody else. So yeah, I'm really happy to come out on top of the group. Unfortunately, it was a red flag. I would have liked to see the race go on to the very end, see how it ended. But yeah, I'm really happy with the double this weekend, and that's as much as I could have done. So I'm really happy with myself.
So you should be. Fantastic job, amazing manoeuvre. Well done.
Thank you.
Injured ankle we're hearing here for Troy Jeffrey, and under the circumstances that is not wonderful news but positive news, a positive update of course, bearing in mind what could have happened. Look at that. That is a massive amount of damage. You can see the fluids coming out of the bike there. There's Troy himself. We were concerned at first, but it is an ankle injury we hear there for Troy Jeffrey. Not the way he wanted the season to end, of course. He's being treated, as you can see, on the stretcher, but he is conscious, and it's an ankle injury, and thankfully no more than that. Alex Baldolini there, who is the Dorna representative, alongside Matt Belchin, who is the MSVR representative for the Honda British Talent Cup. I've got to say as well, Jonathan Palmer just sat in behind us and he was watching that race, the head of MSV. That was incredible, wasn't it?
It really was, I must say. It's so exciting to watch, and obviously a shame that Johnny couldn't be amongst it, but what a great job he did on the commentary, didn't he?
I'm a bit worried actually.
Yeah, I think you better work a bit harder. I think you're under pressure.
I think I am as well. I'm getting all nostalgic now as well, because I remember listening to you with Murray Walker back in the day. So yeah, how fast time flies. There's Nuria there on the right, Alex Baldolini's wife, and Jordan and all the guys from the MLab Vision Track Academy. What an amazing way to finish a pretty amazing season in the Talent Cup. Yes, ultimately it was dominated by one rider, but a glorious race, and like Neil said, he gave them a little bit of a chance, didn't he, by not taking part in the races this weekend. But best wishes to Johnny Garness. There's Alex Baldolini. He's played a major part in boosting the mental side of the riders' abilities, as well as their actual riding out on the track and believing in themselves. And we've seen a massive rise in the level here this year, and they're much more on form now when they go over to do the European Talent Cup as well. Previously over there they'd been on a much higher level, so they're getting closer and closer all the time. Well done Rocket Reese Stevenson, another great podium. Yes, he misses out on his 3rd place in the championship, but it's his 6th podium of the season, 2/3, 4 seconds. Carter Brown, of course, was a regular up on the podium and confirmed as the championship runner-up man. And Evan Belford, let's see, of course, pretty much all these guys are staying in the class next year. So bring it on. If it carries on where we left off there, it's going to be absolutely sensational. This, of course, is the race podium. And now we're going to get the championship podium as well. Claire Fennell from MSV is overseeing the whole procedure with Alex Baldellini there from Dorna as well. And as we said in the coverage on Saturday, look how happy these guys are. There's Johnny, he was with us just a few moments ago, and he's going to be handed the champion trophy of 2022. It's the Dave Simmons trophy. Jenny Simmons is around here somewhere as well, daughter of Dave Simmons, who was the 1969 125cc road racing world champion, the first ever Kawasaki title as well, so an historic one there for the great late Dave Simmons. And it'll be Robin Appleyard. This is going to be so emotional. You can see Robin there with the trophy in hand, having announced that his team, after many years, will be leaving the Bennett's British Superbike Championship paddock at the end of 2022. He'll be handing out that trophy in the next few moments as the top 3 then in the championship for 2022 head up onto the podium. There's Carter Brown. Just a few unfortunate incidents, weren't there, for Carter earlier on in the season. He failed to finish, if you remember the second race at Silverstone. Chaos on the last lap, one of several riders taken out, but of course the big cheer. Alongside Crosby on the right and Brown on the left is for Johnny Garness. He did 16 races, only failed to finish 2 of them. Only one of those was his fault, the other he was taken out. 12 wins, 1 second, 1/3 from 16 races. What a sensational season it has been. There then is Robin Appleyard. There is the flag for Johnny Garness. We'll be pleased to have actually get a chance to get up onto the podium here this weekend, having missed the races. And he misses the European Talent Cup as well, sadly, at Aragon next weekend. But I'm sure there's great things ahead. There's Baldellini. Well done, Johnny Garness. He was 13 when the season started. He's 14 now. Matt Belchin on the left there is the MSVR rider representative and coach I was talking about before. And here comes the Dave Simmons trophy. And Robin Appleyard, I'm sure, will cherish this moment as well. Lovely gesture going up to everybody on the podium. Carter Brown on the left, Crosby on the right, and Johnny Garness, the 2022 Honda British Talent Cup champion. Of course, the Talent Cup has changed in format over the last few years, and it's a dominant win for this man in 2022. Well, you really could not have scripted the drama in the last race of the season for the Honda British Talent Cup of 2022. They got away then off the line here at Donington Park. Johnny Garnett not racing this weekend as he'd been injured in a qualifying crash on Saturday. He did collect the Champions Trophy though at the end of the afternoon. What it did leave us with was an absolute free-for-all for victory on the full Grand Prix layout here at Donington Park, including this very corner, the Melbourne Loop. Reece Stevenson, number 23, had an incident with Evan Belford on Saturday. He was looking to beat Harrison Crosby to 3rd in the championship. As it happened, it didn't work out for Reece, even though he was on the podium in the race itself. Dan Goodman went down at the Craner Curves, escaping major injury, thankfully. Belford up into the lead at this point, but at one point we had 9 riders all fighting for the lead. It was spectacular. Out came the red flags for this. Troy Jeffrey with an ankle injury, thankfully no more than that. Evan Belford does the double. Garness is the champion.